Hey everybody, welcome to my booth. My name's Jay, and today's sample, it comes to us from Matt. Thanks for sending this in, Matt. It's a commercial demo. He's curious if it's up to snuff or if it needs a little bit of extra tweaking, and he said, quote, to be brutally honest, don't worry, Matt, we won't pull any punches, but, you know, I'm not going to go for the jugular, as it were. But having listened to it, having listened to it before, you're off to a great start. Spoiler alert. If you'd like me to review audio of yours, there's a form. It's in the description. Fill it out, send me something, and we'll do a video of this for you ASAP. Just a quick FYI, I'm about a little over a month behind in when folks are able to submit to when I can get to your videos. And that gap is growing because folks are submitting more and more, which I love. So thank you. Keep it coming. But just an FYI for you. There's also coaching on my website. If that's more your speed, you want to do this one-on-one. And then, of course, if you like what we're doing here, I don't know why I'm saying we're, it's just me. It's just little old me. But if you like this stuff and you find it helpful and you want to support it, there are ways to do so in the description. And of course, this is YouTube. You know the buttons to click. Give them a click and we'll see what we can do. And thank you very much. Matt, take us away.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. At United Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With United Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and the healthcare you need. When you're 50 plus, the important part isn't the number, it's the plus. Switch your wireless service to Consumer Cellular, and these are some of the pluses you can expect.
Okay, I'm just pausing for a second. As I said, off to a really, really great start. I think the copy that you've chosen is really well suited to your voice. You're performing it really well. The music complements it really well. Just really great start overall. The big note that I have so far is I feel as though the music is still competing somewhat with your voiceover, which there are a couple easy ways to fix that. So I've opened a multi-track session. This is just an audition that I did earlier today, and this is just some random music that I chose. I'm not going to do anything with it because that's a longer video, which I will put out shortly on how to make your own demos. Don't worry. But here are a few quick fixes for you, Matt, to address the issue of your voiceover getting kind of swallowed by your music. Firstly, in your music track, you can just manually turn the volume down. There are many ways that you can do that. I don't know what software you're using to comp together your demos, but many of them will have a volume slider just like or similar to this. Just crank it down until you feel that it's sailing underneath your voiceover at an appropriate level and it's not competing with it. So you can do that overall across the whole music track, or many softwares will allow you to put sort of keyframes in there where you can duck music manually and have it volume up and down. Which can be very helpful if, say, you've got a brief speech moment where you have, like, at this play, at Nike, music break for 15 seconds, our athletes just do it. So you can just duck really briefly underneath those voiceover moments. And that's what this can be useful for. Another option, there's something called sidechain compression. I won't do a full walkthrough here. There are other tutorials you can find, but the process is sidechain compression. And what that means is you route the audio from this track to the track that you want to adjust the volume on. And this compressor, essentially, it'll be routed through this way. You can click on this routing stuff, reset routing, blah, blah, blah. I used Reaper for this, so forgive me. I'm a little rusty on how to do sidechain compression here. But essentially, it turns down the volume on your music relative directly to the volume of your voiceover. So as I talk, the music goes down accordingly to how I speak. Again, I will do another tutorial on this ASAP, but that's another option for you. The third option, so we've got turn down the volume manually, use keyframes, sidechain compression, and then the third is EQ. So The human voice rests generally within a pretty distinct range of sound frequency. For most folks, that's between about 50 to 80 hertz up to about 1,000 hertz and a little less. The majority of that being from about 150 to about 600 hertz. And that varies from voice to voice, depends on if you have a lower registered voice to a higher registered voice. But what you can do is, depending on where your voice rests mostly, on the music track, you can put an EQ on there and then pull down the volume to attenuate the frequencies of sound in the music where your voice would rest. Essentially, what that's doing is you're turning down the volume on the music in the spaces of sound where your voice is mostly. So that just gives you more space for your voiceover to sail over the music instead of competing with it. So in terms of when music engineers do this, I'm not an audio engineer, so I'm grossly overgeneralizing here. But say like, you know how guitars are a bit higher than the bass in terms of their musical notes. They're in the treble clef, the bass is in the bass clef, as just another generalization. So the bass clef are lower frequencies, the treble clef is higher frequencies. So when the bass clef or when the bass is competing with the treble clef notes, they'll just use an EQ sometimes to carve that stuff out to give more space for the guitar and vice versa. That's a dramatic overgeneralization, but just as another way to sort of conceptualize what we're trying to do here. So again, with your music, you can turn down the volume manually. You can use keyframes. You can use sidechain compression, and or you can use EQ to carve out frequencies for your voice. Then, of course, in terms of your voiceover, you can turn up the volume, and then you can also make sure that you're compressing the voiceover before you comp it over your music to make sure that it's pretty level and at a loudness that is, industry standard for stuff like that. And industry standard, normalized to like -3 to -1 dB, and just having it all sort of compressed into a more, you can think of it as like condensing, I don't know, when you make simple syrup or something. I'm coming up with too many metaphors. Compress your voiceover and limit your voiceover. So if we look at yours here, you've got it in a relatively tight dynamic range, but you could maybe compress your voiceover a bit more just to give it a tighter sound relative to the music. So those would be my steps to help you on that front. Now let's continue and focus more on your performance and stuff.
We love our dads, and we want to say thanks. Thanks for the boat rides and the bonfires. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we join you in thanking dads everywhere. For many of our new members, being prepared is a way of life. USAA has been standing with our military community for nearly 100 years. It's hard work.
Okay, before we skip, I love that you've switched from these two, just energetically, you've shifted gears from these two ads to these two ads. And I think that that's really valuable. One thing that I will note is the volume or loudness levels, simply by looking at the waveforms here, these first two are much louder overall than these middle couple, which makes sense. The middle couple are sort of subdued, somewhat sentimental, etc. I would just say, generally speaking, over the entire course of your demo, it would probably be ideal to have everything, meaning these two middle ones being the outlier for yours, be at the same sort of loudness level. This is something you can do, and it doesn't really matter in terms of order of operations. But I would edit and comp together each of your voiceovers for the demo somewhat separately in terms of making them. So what I mean by that is when you're putting the voiceover over the music, just to make sure that you're coming up with the same level of end product, do each of them separately. And there are a couple of reasons for this. One, you can use them discreetly later on. 2, it'll help you in comping everything together and making it level overall. And those are the main 2 things. So that'll just be a super small, subtle shift that will polish it up a bit more. So for what it's worth.
It's hard work packing so much goodness into a $5 fill-up, but it's a labor of love. A love of filling your belly for only $5. All right, that came out weird, but you get my point. Stop into KFC for 5 different ways to fill up for only $5. It's tough to quit smoking cold turkey, so Shantix can help you quit slow turkey. With Shantix, you can keep smoking at first and then ease into quitting. Talk to your doctor about Shantix.
Yeah, man. I think you've really got a good ear for the type of music that will suit different types of copy. That last one being a great example, because at first I was like, this is a quit smoking ad, but it's got this sort of quirky Looney Tunes music behind it, but it totally jives and it complements it really well, in my opinion. So ultimately, I think those couple little technical things that I discussed, I won't go over them again because I've done it ad nauseum, but those couple little technical things will really polish this up for you. And even my only squabble, if that's even a word I can use here, this ad.
It's hard work packing so much goodness into a $5.
It's a little on the extra zany side, but the thing that I love is the rest of your performances feel so grounded and real that I kind of appreciate you throwing in this really wackadoodle KFC ad, because it gives us another level of you. It shows that you're not afraid to go for this just really wacky, zany stuff in a way, because there's still places when that comes up. So that's one thing. Overall, I think you've got a solid demo here, Matt. The critiques I gave you already are the main things I would focus on. The only other thing, it just flew out of my head. What was it? It's not coming back. If I think of it, I'll comment below. But yeah, really solid work. And this was it. In terms of the distribution of your ads, I didn't have an issue with it because you've condensed everything to within about a minute, 15 seconds, which is a decent length for a demo. The only thing I would say is if you wanted to tighten it up even more, you could pick just snippets of things. So you could make for example, 5-second or 7-second version of this KFC ad instead of instead of the 15-second version, just to show more flavors in a shorter amount of time. Because, for example, if we play just this first second,
it's hard work packing so much goodness into a...
we kind of know, okay, he's capable of handling this. And I like listening to your whole ad, but I'm a patient person, and casting people, they listen to a lot of our stuff. And sometimes they only have the time to be
it's hard work.
Yeah, no, that's not the voice that we want for this job. Or conversely,
hard work.
Yeah, that's somebody that we might want for this job. But the point being, they're only going to listen to the first couple seconds, and they're going to know right away whether or not they're going to give you the time of day for whatever spot you're auditioning for. So in terms of a longer general demo like this, showing just brief little glimpses into the different worlds that you can inhabit might be another option for you. But I think overall, you've got a really solid edit here, Matt. Yeah, in post, I discovered that, the audio cut out for some reason. So we're going to sign off this way. I hope this was helpful for you, Matt, and thanks so much for sending this in. And for the rest of you, same. I hope it was helpful for you. And then here we are again. I'm going to dub over myself as we keep talking. But until the next one of these, be well, everybody. And I will see you there. Toodles.